다텔라 tene tati karisunga yuwaresena nonyul kandirimba nawa kandirimba teni sosolo songare nonyul sengende che zudala sopala kogyo.
And so here what it's saying is that it is saying what the perceived object is. It is saying what the appearance is. And so the perceived object are the external things, the external objects. And then the appearance is the thoughts, the afflictions, the emotions, the feelings that appear in our mind. And so these two are differentiated. So we need to differentiate these two. So perceived objects, such as form, sound, and so forth, have appeared due to mind, but they are not mind. And so they are the shared appearance of sentient beings and do not possess any true existence besides being phenomena of dependent origination. So here, the reason that we need to distinguish between appearances and perceived object is that it is easy to understand that the appearances, that is the thoughts and feelings and so forth, it is easy to understand that these are mind. It is easy to understand that when we feel pleasure, that is obviously mind, or when we feel something that is not pleasure, when we feel aversion, that is easy to see that it is mind, or it is easy to see that that thoughts, that the various different types of thoughts, or that the feelings of pleasure or pain are mind. That is very easy to know, and it is very easy to prove it through logic. It is very easy to meditate upon in our mind. However, when we think about external things and we think that these are mind, well, we can prove it by the logics of the mind-only school. We can follow the logics of the mind-only school to prove that external things are mind. We can talk about the examples of the dream and so forth to come to understand that things are mind. And so in this respect, it is easy to understand, but to really have an experience of it is much more difficult. And to really think everything out there is mind, if we think that it is difficult to take that as the path of direct perception. It is difficult to really directly perceive that. And so it is difficult to directly meditate upon that. And so that is why here in this teaching we are differentiating between the appearance, that is the thoughts and the feelings and so forth, and the perceived objects, the six things. And so here, what is being taught is that the perceived object is not mind, but the mind itself, but the perceptions are mind.
Tene 자송 tene 다텔라 야 단다 나라서 감각의 영화 주군주축도 보지나 주군주축 나라 당보 따와가 성거라 tene 따와가데 네토네 따와.
When we look at the teachings of the ninth Karmapa in the pointing out the Dharmakara, there are the 5 sections on the view. The 5 sections on the view are viewing the mind in stillness, viewing the mind in motion, viewing the mind in relation to appearances, viewing whether the moving and still minds are the same or different, and viewing whether mind and body are the same and different. There are these 5 different sections. And of these 5 different sections, generally people say that viewing the mind in stillness is easy. It's easy to think about, it's easy to meditate upon, it's easy to get an experience of it. Viewing the mind in motion is also pretty easy, but when you get to viewing the mind in relation to appearances, then it gets a bit difficult. In all respects, it's difficult. It's difficult to understand. It's difficult to meditate upon. It's difficult to get any experience of this. Saying that external things are all mind is really hard to do that. And what is the reason for that? Well, the reason is that when there is an external thing that appears, it'll appear pretty much the same, whether you have 5 people looking at it, or 6 people, or 7 or 8 people looking at it. Everyone looking at it is going to say it's pretty much the same sort of thing. They're going to see one sort of thing. And so in that way, we think there's one thing that we're all looking at, is what they think. And so it doesn't seem like it's mind at all. That's not the mind. And so we have this real tendency, this habitual tendency not to see it that way. And so when we come to actually meditate upon it, it is not easy to meditate upon it. And so a lot of people have said to me that meditating upon the mind in experience is really difficult. Some people say that, oh, it's not that difficult, but really when you look at it, that's just, understanding. It's not actual experience. They haven't really developed experience within their beings of it. They just have a mere understanding of it. I once had a conversation with Yeshe Gyatso. Yeshe Gyatso is Khenpo Kartar's translator. And I asked him, well, do you find it difficult to meditate upon the mind in appearance? And he said, oh, that's really difficult. There's no way to understand that at all. And so, it's not just a little, it's really difficult.